What insane college experience made you realize that school isn't for you? I lost my V card on my official visit. It was tragic. I was a star basketball player in my high school. I made every all-conference team from freshman year on. You would think this would garner tons of attention from the ladies, but it was different at my school. There were only about 60 people in each grade, so there wasn't a large selection. On top of it, I went to school in the suburbs. There were about 10 black kids total in the high school, and most of them were recruited athletes. We dealt with a lot of undercover prejudice, and the girls for the most part just were not interested. In order to get to the level I played at, my schedule consisted of working out, eating, and going home. This was on repeat for 4 years. I didn't party or go out. I was focused on making my dreams a reality and putting my family in a better place. The summer before senior year of high school, a coach from a local mid-major offered me my third Division I scholarship. They had been recruiting me for the past 2 years, and they were high up on my list because I wanted to stay close to home if I could. I was ecstatic. But of course, I played it cool when the coach asked me if I would come down for an official visit. As soon as I stepped on campus, I had pretty much made up my mind that at the end of the visit I would commit to the school. The campus was beautiful. They put me up in a hotel a couple miles away from the main area. Coach set me up with a senior player on the team that would be my guide for the weekend and show me around the campus from a player perspective. His name was Joe. He gave me Joe's number and told me to reach out to him if I needed anything. I was watching Cartoon Network in the hotel room when I got a text from Joe telling me that he was outside the lobby. When I got downstairs, I saw a slender 6 feet 4 inches dude dressed in joggers, a hoodie, slides, and wearing sunglasses at night. I knew immediately that this was the guy. We introduced ourselves and he led me out to a Chevy Impala. In the backseat there were 2 girls. One was a brunette on the volleyball team who said her name was Morgan. The other one was a strikingly beautiful ginger with piercing blue eyes named Sophie. Joe asked if I'd wanted to visit a party that was happening at one of the frats, and I agreed. So we pulled off and headed toward campus. Other guys had told me that the purpose of the official visit was to make the campus seem like heaven on earth for the recruits. To show them the best possible time they could have so that they would commit on the spot. The prettiest girls. The best parties. All of that stuff. So, I wasn't oblivious to what Joe was trying to do. However, I was a bit socially awkward at the time. For most of the ride to the party I sat twiddling my fingers and looking out the window in silence. At one point, Joe looks over to me in the passenger seat and asks me if I like trains. The girls kind of giggled in the backseat. I got really nervous. Had I been so awkward that they thought I was autistic? I laughed it off the best I could and gave the most nonchalant answer I could think of. I said, "They're cool, I guess," and went back to sitting in silence until we pulled up to the frat house. As soon as we got to the top of the steps, the front door swings open. A guy wearing only what appeared to be an empty beer case on his head and his underwear comes falling out and greets Joe with a secret handshake. He welcomes me to the party and the 4 of us walked inside. Like I said before, I wasn't a big party guy. However, things change when most of the people in the party are catering the experience to make sure you're having the best time possible. People seemed genuinely interested in who I was and what I liked, and it was cool. The coolest part was getting to know Sophie. I didn't know anything about astrology, but she said we were really compatible. We bonded over our family dynamics, talked about sports, and figured out we knew a lot of the same people because she had grown up in the same area. It was a match made in heaven. A romance straight out of a movie. The visit was serving its purpose. I was falling in love with Sophie and the school. At one point Sophie excused herself from my lap, which she had made her personal chair for the last couple of minutes. I didn't bother to watch where she went because I figured she would be back soon anyway. While I was waiting for her, Joe waved me over to him. I followed upstairs until we got to a bedroom door. Joe paused in front of it. He gave me a sly smirk. "You said you like trains, right?" I looked at him confused. I still wasn't on the same frequency. Maybe I really was autistic. When Joe opened the door, I realized none of that mattered to begin with. Nothing could have prepared me for what I saw on the other side. My heart sank as I stared at about 6 dudes with their manhood in hand standing around a now naked Sophie on the bed. I wanted to cry. Before I could turn around and run to the bathroom, Joe pulled me inside and shut the door. I didn't know what to do. I was too nervous to say anything. I was too prude to just whip my pants off and enthusiastically participate. I was stuck. I watched 4 dudes in a row manhandle the person I had just fantasized about starting a family with one day. I was devastated. Then, Joe pushed me toward the bed and said, "Go get her, Tiger, your turn." I didn't want to, but I also didn't want to cause any drama or seem as prude as I actually was. Sophie looked at me with those piercing eyes and told me it was okay. She pulled me in and I could hear the rest of the dudes laughing and cheering me on. It ended as quickly as it started. I lasted no longer than 50 seconds at most. I could feel the tension in the room as I stood up. I couldn't look Sophie in the eye. For the rest of the party I sat alone in a corner and drank Kool-Aid. One of the other guys on the team took me back to the hotel. The next day when Joe texted me to come out again, I told him I had a bad stomach ache from food poisoning and stayed in to watch TV. I ended up committing to a different school and having a pretty solid career before moving on to play professionally in Turkey.